Jesus' heart is truly alive, waiting and beating for each and every one of us in the Eucharist, and the great Eucharistic miracles that have been approved by the Church really confirm the Church's faith that Jesus is truly present in the Eucharist. Before I get into the Eucharistic Miracle of Sokółka, Poland, I wanted to point out this really excellent website that's out there. And it was put together by a young man named Carlo Acutis, who actually passed away at the age of 15 from leukemia. And this faithful young man, he compiled and cataloged so many of the Eucharistic miracles that have been approved by the Church, and he placed them on his website, really giving names and places and dates and all the facts from scientific tests that have been done on so many Eucharistic miracles. So he talks a lot, and he goes into detail as well on the Eucharistic Miracle of Sokółka, Poland, which is maybe one of the most remarkable Eucharistic miracles that has taken place. And the Eucharistic Miracle of Sokółka took place on October 12th, 2008 in the parish church of St. Anthony's. And at Mass, the priest was giving out Holy Communion when one of the faithful pointed out to the priest that one of the consecrated hosts fell on the ground, and a priest did what he was supposed to do. The Church asked priests in a circumstance like that to reverently place the host in a cup of water so that it could dissolve, and only after it's been dissolved fully, that water can be poured reverently into the ground. So that priest placed that host in the cup of water. One of the nuns, who was the sacristan in that parish, took that cup of water and put it in the parish safe to keep it safe. When she checked up on it a few days later, she noticed the smell of freshly baked bread, and she noticed that that host only dissolved a little bit, and that host actually was changing color to this reddish blood-colored stain that was taking place in this host. And eventually they took that host, they placed it reverently from that cup of water, they removed it, they put it on one of the corporals, which is a piece of cloth that's used at Mass. And some scientific tests were done on this sample, and the scientists didn't know where that sample was coming from either when they carried out these tests. So a Professor Sokolski and a Professor Sobniec-Łotowska, they concluded, I'll point out three things they concluded from their tests. They concluded that this thing that looked like a blood clot was actually human heart tissue. And it was human heart tissue, kind of similar to the Eucharistic miracles of Lanciano and Buenos Aires, human heart tissue that was actually alive. And it was human heart tissue that was alive and from the heart of someone who was near death, very near death. They were also unable to explain how this sample, which was placed in a cup of water, didn't dissolve through the process of autolysis. And they weren't able to conclude how that took place, how this host didn't dissolve, and if it was bacteria, they said the color would have changed rather quickly, and it still maintained that red blood-colored stain. And another thing they concluded, and this is maybe the most remarkable thing they found, that the fragments of the Eucharistic bread and this human heart tissue were interconnected on a microscopic level. They said that even with the most advanced tools available to NASA, this would have been impossible to replicate, impossible for human hands to make up. How the Eucharistic bread fragments and the human heart fragments were interconnected. And it kind of points to that great truth of the Catholic faith that every time we go to Mass, through the power of the Holy Spirit, bread and wine are really truly changed into the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Christ through the power of the Holy Spirit. How that miracle of transubstantiation takes place every time we go to Mass. So the great Eucharistic miracle of Sokółka, Poland, like so many other Eucharistic miracles, really confirms the faith of the Church that Jesus is truly alive and waiting for us in the Eucharist, that his heart is beating for us in the Holy Eucharist. And God bless you.